from the News Channel 5 Network and Out and About newspaper. This is Out and About Today.
Welcome to Out and About Today. I'm Brent Meredith. We have another great show for you tonight. Pam will chat with Nashville LGBT Chamber President Lisa Howe about marriage equality and same-sex wedding planning. And on tonight's Entertainment Outlook, Chuck Long talks with the cast members and the director of a local production of The Normal Heart. But first, we begin with our weekly Buzz About, and I'm joined by my co-host Pam Wheeler, Chuck Long, and Out and About Nashville editor James Grady. Welcome, everyone. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Oh, we always love to see each other. We do this every month.
That's right.
Okay, so we've got, again, a lot to talk about. I want to jump right in. My first topic tonight, I kind of wanted to juxtapose a couple of articles about transgender-related articles. So at first, I found something about transgender kids are not confused about their gender identities. And this, of course, was a new study as actually conducted. It's going to be published in the Psychological Sciences Journal pretty soon that basically says trans children identify with their gender, not with their sex assignment. So we have empirical data now and more data that proves that this is the case. So we juxtapose that with a new Texas law presented recently, or a bill introduced rather, I shouldn't call it a law just yet, about wanting to basically DNA test people if they're perceived to be in the wrong bathroom based on their sex assignment. So I want to get your thoughts. Why are we still doing these types of things when clearly there's data, there's research, there's true evidence to show that this isn't some crazy. Why are we still doing this, Chuck? I mean,
well, first off, I'm embarrassed by my home state once again, Texas.
Well, I'm sorry to start with you because
I mean, what is going on?
I know.
What are you going to sit there and do? You know, test someone and say we'll be with you in 30 minutes before you can use the restroom here? It's one of the most insane things that Texas is trying to do. Again, very conservative, very right-wing Texas. But I think this data that we were just seeing, it's more of the born the way theory, and I think that this is just more proof of it. And hopefully, the way that things are progressing, these things that pop out of Texas and pop out of Alabama and pop out of Arkansas are going to just go by the wayside
Well,
eventually.
and I understand to some extent why they think they need to do this. They're compelled to make a stance on something, but then they go to such lengths as to making exceptions for bathroom workers or people who have to go in to help someone who's fallen. So I guess if you're in the bathroom and you fall down and a transgender person comes in to help you, they're not going to get in trouble for that. It just seems like they went through such lengths to try to make it sound. I mean, you're nodding your head, James. Come on, say something. I know you got an opinion.
Well, I mean, you know, of course they're going to make it sound that way because they want to make it look like a legitimate law.
Exactly.
But really, these things are all, you know, from hell's heart, I stab at thee moments of a dying movement. And this is viewed as, I think, one of the last socially acceptable discriminations. And I think that they think they can get away with it because this community is most marginalized.
Well, ma'am, I think oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I think there's some folks, there's some folks that are trying to rally around a law that will resonate with some people. There's also a good number of people that just simply don't understand.
Yeah.
And when you don't understand, you're kind of scared. And when I saw that you wanted to talk about this, I was reminded of a 2020 piece that Barbara Walters did on trans children back in '07, and I pulled it up today. And I'll tell you, if you don't understand or you doubt, all you have to do is watch some kids talk about what they're going through.
Yes.
And it makes you understand.
Right.
Because these kids feel like they're in the wrong body.
Well, and if you guys remember, I did a topic a while back too about a TED Talk from an actual doctor who did research and was able to do gender reassignment before puberty. And I mean, again, these kids know the difference. They're not just confused. They're not just trying to get attention.
Right. And once you listen to them, and you watch it, you get it.
Well, and even I think the bigger issue, at least for me here, is why do we continue to govern in so many ways based on emotion and fear versus actual data and evidence?
Right. I don't think we're governing on emotion and fear. I think that the people who are governing are taking advantage of people's emotions and fears. I think
that's a very good distinction. Thank you, James. I mean, exactly. They know better, and I think I've said that on here before too. It's like you know that some of these people know what they're up to, and that's almost more sickening than what they're trying to do.
And, you know, you can almost understand the people who are confused and afraid, but the people who manipulate that to their own political ends and hurt children, you can't understand that.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about this for a lot longer, but there's a few more topics we'd like to get through here. And another one. This is another one sort of dear to my heart, having grown up in the rural South. But there's an LGBT Rural Summit series and the hashtag Rural Pride campaign. James, you sent this my way, and I appreciate it. That's happening actually this month at the Oasis Center. It's Thursday, March 19th, so this may air a couple of times after the fact, but I still think it's worth noting that it's happening and that they're stopping here. It's at the Oasis Center on Charlotte Avenue. There is a seating RSVP that you can get off of their website. But it says each series will offer a unique opportunity for the USDA and other federal agencies to share information relating to policies, programs, and services that exist to promote and strengthen the LGBT rural community. How did you come to hear about this, James?
Well, I received a communication from the young woman in charge of this series, who works for the assistant director, I think, for civil rights.
Yeah.
And
It was actually the assistant commissioner, or assistant secretary for civil rights. Yeah.
And she contacted me. She herself is a Nashville native.
Oh, really?
She grew up here and has since moved on to Washington.
Cool. Well, there was some interesting data on the webpage that said almost 10% of all same-sex couples in the country live in rural America,
Yes.
and all of these couples are actually more likely to be families of color and raising children. So again, I thought that was interesting. How about yourself, Chuck? I mean, where did you grow up?
In small town Texas.
Yeah.
So, and again, I think it's really important because a lot of times there's just not the same services and same things that you have available when you're in that rural area.
Well, and the thing is, too, people who grew up in the rural South who are LGBT are even more economically disadvantaged than your average LGBT people. So.
Yeah. It's a
I
good
know.
thing
I'll
to
tell
know.
you, I came from it a little different angle. I was glad to see that it was as small as 10%. I mean, you might be thinking that's huge, but that just my thinking was then there's a lot of folks that live where there are more resources
Right.
and more you can identify with things.
But I think a lot of people live where there are more resources because they've been forced to seek them.
Well,
Right.
true.
Right. That's why
Yeah.
you moved to those areas.
Chicken egg.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and moving along, we got about a minute left, so I wanted to catch this because Arkansas has now joined our home state of Tennessee as the second in the nation to have. There's an anti-LGBT bill that's become law that basically says that none of the smaller communities within the state or municipalities, anyone, can pass any ordinances protecting LGBT folks. So once again, they're trying to dissolve rather any laws within the state. Same reaction to what we have here. I mean, why are we doing this? What's the point? I mean, why is a Republican, run state actually trying to govern downward? Isn't that against their general policy?
Our only recourse in Republican states is ground up, so they're crushing the ground.
All right, we've got to go. The cover real quick, though. We've got the next issue of Out and About coming up. What's on the cover there real quick, James?
We've got Jaden Dior Fierce, who's going to be on RuPaul's Drag Race this season, and she's born and bred Nashville.
Fantastic. Well, I ran us out of time. I'm sorry you didn't get to talk about the issue, but pick it up. It's on stands beginning next month. And when we come back, Pam talks marriage planning and equality. So stay with us.